So now we have from today our favorite. This is another great thing, is that all of this sort of like walking travesties of this dumb Watergate administration are emerging at once. And now Sebastian Gorka, who apparently was on the way out, but the reports that I heard was that Trump literally personally intervened to keep this guy on a job. And I got to say something about Sebastian Gorka. We've made fun of his PhD dissertation. We make fun of the fact that he's a, at the very least, a pseudo-intellectual reactionary fearmonger with at least, connections to neo-Nazi, neo-fascist groups that maybe he's too stupid to realize that he's a member of. But I actually think his actual role in the White House is really to be a spin doctor on TV, and he's respectable. Here he is on CNN discussing. Oh, excuse me. Oh, this is MSNBC. Here he is this morning speaking on MSNBC with Stephanie Ruhle, talking about Donald Trump Jr.'s meeting with a Kremlin-connected lawyer this morning.
It's 20% of America's uranium to Russia. That's a story. Let's talk about that.
Sir, that story, that uranium story, whatever in it you want to believe, are one of the reasons people did not want to vote for Hillary Clinton. But pay for play and those issues were issues that the Trump campaign harped on so desperately. So why would Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr. take a meeting like this? And by the way, if it was about opposition research, why would Donald Trump Jr. not come clean with that on Saturday and say this is how campaigns run? To give us this story about orphans when 2 days later, yep, we wanted information on her. Why? Explain this to me, please.
Well, I think you should probably ask Donald Trump Jr., but if I was in his position...
So that's an official White House spokesperson throwing the president's kid under the bus.
Yeah.
And don't forget that, again, Manafort and Kushner were at this meeting. They just apparently weren't stupid enough to put in an email like, yeah, I'd be totally open to hear about like Russian dirt on Hillary Clinton. She's a fucking bitch.
I think the line still is that they weren't told what the meeting was for, which, I mean, when you're in the middle of a campaign, you have all sorts of time to just go on fun little adventures with your pals.
Yeah, exactly. Manafort's just like, wait, as someone who is literally like personally misled people about being a journalist for a project I did for Pakistani intelligence, I think I can operate a little bit better than this. And Kushner's just like, oh no, my self-preservation instincts are kicking in. I gotta get back. My dad, apparently some Dominicans are complaining that there isn't hot water at one of my units. I'm gonna go right and tell them that we won't turn it back on. Goodbye, everyone. All right, let's keep playing this.
I'd say very simply, because that meeting was not organized in good faith. The person who requested it had an ulterior motive, not from the one they indicated, which is a standard one, collecting negative information on your political opponent. Every party does that. But when it turns out she hasn't got any, and she wants to talk about adoption, that's why this is a very, very complicated story, and one in which the individual who requests the meeting is not acting in good faith.
So if she had the goods, would you feel better about it?
Well, it's standard political practice. You think the Democratic Party didn't collect? I mean,
no,
Hillary Clinton collected opposition research on Biden.
It is not standard political practice to seek information from a foreign government.
Would you like to talk about Mosul, or would you like to continue talking about nothing burger story when the Hillary campaign collects dirt on Bernie Sanders? What, is that unusual?
Then why wouldn't Donald Trump Jr. say that on Saturday, number one? And it is not appropriate to do that with a foreign government. And if these meetings were standard practice, why wouldn't Don share that information? Why wouldn't Jared Kushner share that information? And as far as we've got Jeff Sessions, we've got Mike Flynn, none of whom shared information about meetings they had. Why wouldn't they share that? That's what brings us back here. The reason we know about this is because Jared didn't disclose the meeting. If it was such a nothing burger, put it on your forms.
So, number one, we have been in office for less than 6 months. In the first 125 days of this administration, there have been 100 126 leaks of national security information to the media. Now that's a story. That's illegal. That's felonious. But you want to talk about a 9-month campaign to talk about some... Can I finish?
Sir, do you think that people in the White House aren't leaking information?
May I finish?
Please.
Can I finish? Now that's a story. 126 leaks. 7 times more than the Obama administration and 7 times more than the Bush administration. But in the last 9 months, you and your colleagues in the fake news media, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish.
Excuse me. You're welcome
have not managed
to
to find one felonious piece of evidence. Not one. In 9 months. Don't you think it's time the American people were served by the media justly and you get to national security issues like Mosul?
We're going to get to Mosul in 1 minute. Mr. Gorka, if we should go after everyone within the administration leaking information, are you not concerned that Jared Kushner himself, possibly even the president, leak information?
So you know who leaked the information? Do you have those identities?
I'm asking you. Do you believe that...
No, I'm asking you.
Well, I can't answer that, sir.
Do you know?
I know that there are people.
Why are you making
I know
those
that there are
statements?
people within the White House who leak information on a regular basis.
What? Okay, what?
What about Mosul was?
This guy needs to understand the nature of what a leak is. It means somebody who's working for or underneath the president, or the president himself,
I leak some things
is giving information to people secretly. This isn't like, say the last presidential campaign where a foreign government hacked into somebody's email and leaked that information. No, this
but that's their frame, is that this is like the deep state is undermining Trump. And I mean, I have no doubt that obviously there are people in FBI, CIA that have been trying to undermine this guy. And that's one of those wars where it's like, I mean, I think relatively speaking, for the duration of dealing with Trump, I'll take it. But obviously our deep state does not become good guys in that process. But at this point, obviously things are getting leaked all over the place from within inside the White House. And I had gotten to the point where I really did think there is there's a shady line of connection with Trump and Russian mafia money, and that's going to overlap with the government because that's how Russia is. And then there's a Russian preference, and it's not like the Russians are they're not stupid. They don't need to set up explicit meetings to do this. They already have, at the very least, a friendly campaign consultant like Manafort there. Right. They have Flynn around. They what do they need to do?
They have dirt.
Yeah, they have dirt. They have whatever they have on him. And now look at that. And that's, by the way, that's one of the funniest things that people have pointed out with that P tape thing. That Trump's biggest response is it's a total lie, the P. But the whole dossier is he's a compromised foreign asset. He said, "Yeah, whatever. People can believe what they want. I never had girls pee on me." But let me just quote from this though, because this is and the meeting was facilitated by a guy named Rob Goldstein, who is a British publicist who arranged. Now I'm quoting from Vox. Arranged a meeting between Donald Jr. and lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, which I'm not pronouncing right, I'm sure,
Russian stuff.
who works on behalf of Azari oligarchs Amin and Arzev Argalov. The first email shows that Trump Jr. was informed that the meeting was part of the, quote, part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump, unquote. All right, now I'm reading from it. Emin has just called and asked me, this is Rob Goldstein, Emin has just called and asked me to contact you with something very interesting. The Crown Prosecutor of Russia met with his father, Aris, this morning, and their meeting offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia and be very useful to your father. This is obviously very high-level and sensitive information, but as part of Russia and its government's support of Mr. Trump, helping along by Aris and Emin. Trump Jr.'s response to Goldstein, "If it's what you say it is, I love it," end quote. Now, I got to just say before we get, because there is a sound of this lawyer we'll get to, but let me just say this to both of you. Dear Mr. Waz and Mr. Lek, I am a deposed prince from the Abuja region of Nigeria. If you can give me a contact form to your savings account and give me one payment of $1,000. The unchecked royalties to the gas wells of Zamunda, which are my birthright, will be delivered to me. It's like literally, except it's like a real Nigerian Prince email, which it sounds like basically borderline incriminating.
And if it's what you say it is, woo.
If it's what you say it is, which is that the Russian government, I mean, could you imagine? I mean, again, we used this yesterday. I was like, could you imagine if like the Iranians contacted President Obama's campaign and we're like, we've got dirt on Romney. Call him back up. Allahu Akbar.
Let's go.
If what you say it is, I love it.
I love it.
I love it. And I just want to say too, for the Hillary people, I really would not. I mean, one of the stories about Clintons and Russia was debunked, and it was in some right-wing hit piece. But I have no doubt that if you dug around, you could find probably Bill Clinton did give a speech to some Azari kleptocrat somewhere, right?
Some
I'm
Saudi
sure
prince
there's
or something,
sketchy stuff.
Well, yeah, Gorka pointed
I have
to
no
that
doubt.
earlier in that clip that I edited out. But he's like, yeah, Bill Clinton took money from that. But the problem with that is Bill Clinton.
Goddamn right, I took it.
I'm getting money from everywhere.
I'm getting stupid money.
All directions.
I'm getting money from fake universities. I'm getting money from oligarchs. I would take money from North Koreans so they fly me out there. I'm cash money. Records.
I mean, the interesting thing about this whole Trump Jr. thing is at that point in time, basically a year and a month ago,
yes,
the whole point of their campaign was basically like, let's not get embarrassed historically.
Right.
So there's a certain kind of desperation that makes me unsurprised that something like this happened. I think the surprising thing of the last few days is just how dumb they are about making a paper trail.
Yes. And this is...
they thought they were going to lose.
They did. Well, right. Well,
that's
they were
an
trying
important
to
thing.
avoid, yeah, exactly.
They were trying to make a better loss, basically.
Which definitely, I think, supports Sam's longtime theory about Comey, which is that Comey was going in expecting Trump to lose and also thinking he was still going to conduct a criminal investigation on him. So, trying to even go out of his way to harm Hillary to demonstrate I am absolutely not trying. Yeah, right. Exactly. But within mind, there's some real stuff going on here that I'm probably going to have to look at even after this buffoon loses. But now this buffoon is president. Here's the lawyer. She was talking to today's Care Simmons, and she talked about her meeting with Donald Jr. What's really funny, too, also in that Gorka clip is that the first thing that Donald Jr. basically said was this was a meeting about adoptions. And then Gorka's just he was lied to. He was promised smears and ended up talking about pathetic Russian babies. He was misled, if anything.
This guy's level of pomp is
incredible.
It's out of a fucking James Bond movie.
I know.
It's amazing.
But not he's the assistant who gets thrown into the Shark Tank after displeasing the main guy.
He's the lowest paid member of the cabinet or whatever. Everyone else is at $180,000 a year. Gorka's at $155, and he's the only person.
I'm at $155. I was the junior associate at Spectre until I was killed at an annual meeting in Vienna. Huh?
and he goes, Obama had one quarter of the leaks. I'm
seventh or something. Yeah.
Dude.
Or 7 times less.
That's technology for you.
Right.
Or he's running a tighter ship. Right. What are you talking about?
The things that were revealed with Obama were whistleblowing about really problematic, invasive programs that Obama presided over. They weren't things and then apparently Obama's nephew went on a shopping spree with the Amir guitar.
Or that Obama...
And they're going to open a chain of halal restaurants in Chicago, which apparently is also connected with some crack dealers. So, that's right. The level of things that get
or
leaked
people
about
leaking that Obama does nothing but sit around and watch MTV Jams and YouTube clips. Of old Jay-Z videos.
World Star.
You know
They're being totally unfair to me. Someone call Amy Goodman. Unfair. World Star. Oh, my God. Oh. The windmill. Y'all got to watch this. They're being totally unfair to me. They're being totally unfair.
All he does is sit around and watch N1 mixtapes. If that was leaking, that would have to be the equivalent.
That's his crotch in your face.
Yeah,
he reversed on you.
Trump, it was revealed that Trump was watching Fox. He was tweeting about Fox and Friends at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, which means he taped it. And he's like, It's time for my afternoon. Sit down.
He's
Maybe
got Fox
I'm gonna
News
pull the
DVR.
blinds. Pull the blinds. Have a nice little dark watch of.
Little dark watch.
It's like I remember watching.
They're my friends.
Yeah, you remember Are You Afraid of the Dark, the Nickelodeon show?
No.
Of course.
So I remember in the afternoons you like pull the blinds, watch that. That's what Trump does with Fox.
I
Scare
was
the
raised
hell out
by-
of yourself.
By hippie wolves, so I didn't get to watch much TV.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos